Evidence-based outcomes in the beef industry. What does this mean? That's a tough title. Essentially, is why do we keep changing our goals? Very quickly, Cattleland was established in the 1970s. It was actually called High Chaparral Feedlot. It was only 1,500 head. We've grown to where we are now, which is 25,000 head. We are vertically and horizontally coordinated company. We have some lateral integration because we have the bull test center. We can hold 5,000 head, superior management, blah, 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 blah. You know, we do what we do, right? Big thing there is that we do both conventional testing and RFI testing. I think we sort of help some of the breeds and a lot of the producers. And the biggest challenge with RFI that I've seen is that, you know, in our industry, in the cattle feeding industry, the producers always want to know, how much more am I going to get paid for this? What's the premium? What's the premium? What's this? I always tell them, you're not going to get a damn thing until you prove yourself. That's the bottom line. Now, in RFI, what you need to understand is how much money you're going to save by retaining those efficient animals in your herd and making improvements year to year. So we're always fighting that. This was the 2013 statement that I have here. And what I would like to do is kind of focus on the second paragraph towards the middle there, where it says the in-house component is geared to improving efficiencies on the Cattleland's feedlot background and cow-calf operations and the bull test. And our statement used to say, towards that end, most of the in-house research at the moment is focused on RFI and genomics. We have focused now back to cow-calf management, nutrition, liquid health minimization, that's antibiotics, by the way, cattle stress reduction, and end consumer relations. One of the works that we used to do hugely was leptin on the conventional side, managing cattle at the feedlot. What we were doing here was a huge management on the genetics side of the house, and paired with genomic sorting and beta agonist selection, this was a great tool. Our partner at that time, which was great, right? They fed the cattle at the feedlot. They let us manage it for them. We're feeding 12, 15,000 head annually for these guys, right? So to use these tools was fantastic, because if you look over to the right side, you know, this is actually what was happening. The cattle come in. We took a DNA sample with an ear notch on arrival. And then about terminal implant time, which is about 90 to 100 days from the cattle going to slaughter, those groups will come back to the chute for terminal implant sorting. And then we would do back fat ultrasound. We brought up all their genetic markers. And then essentially they went 1 to 4 groups, right? First group were those cattle, which was probably the TTs. They were ready because TTs gain weight a lot faster. And they're usually going to finish 45 days ahead of everybody else. So they were ready. You didn't have to put an implant in there anymore. You didn't have to put any more vaccines. You didn't have to do anything. You just peel them off. Off they went. You save a ton of money because you didn't feed anything else. Then there was another group that would be ready in about 45, 70 days, and we would target those for Zilmax. And we gave them the appropriate implant because we also did some studies as far as the different implants and the different markers and how they responded to the different beta agonists. Group 3 was ready in 70 to 100 days or so, and different implant strategy that would get fed Optiflex, and off they went. And then Group 4 were the ones most than likely, typically the CCs, but you know, there's always TTs in there too, because it's not just a single trait that's managing everything. And we had a free choice on what we were going to do with those guys, right? So this was great. It only pays at the feedlot if you're feeding 1,000 head or more, because it costs anywhere from $15 to $20 per head to do all this work, okay? Nothing's free. In case I forgot to mention, we're a for-profit research organization. We actually have to make a living out of this. So a lot of our smaller customers, with the shutdown of Lakeside, and then about a year or so later with the shutdown of Cargill because of the floods in Calgary, a lot of our cattle feeders took a big hit financially. So smaller guys kind of surface in, but these guys are feeding, you know, anywhere from 40 to 500 head. And if you're feeding 40, you don't want me to market the heaviest 3 in this month, and then 20 in the next month, and then the balance in the other month. That guy wants to get paid all at once, right? So he's got no interest in doing this. even at the 500 head level, you might have some interest, but we're pretty honest with our people because, well, we want them to make money and be happy, our customers. So it doesn't make any sense to spend this money and do all this work unless you have at least 1,000 head, and we don't have that many of those producers. Obviously, with the genomics work, you don't have to be guessing anymore. You can go underneath the skin and understand how everything's happening. Back in 2013, when I presented, I mentioned that we needed vertical integration, and I'm changing my tune. I think we actually need vertical coordination because you don't necessarily have to own everything from the cow-calf all the way to the plant, but you do have to be aligned with the right partners in order to be successful. Too many people that we came across that were raising beef were successful people in other businesses that always had a dream of being a rancher and having a farm. We had to take science, and we started working with our scientists, and we had to go back to the foundation of the industry, right? We had to go back and re-educate our partners. Now, we started with 21 plus ranchers and farms, and we're down to about 5 partners. So what have we done? We change onto new findings. So big focus, and especially with some of these groups, is, they're concerned about antimicrobial resistance. We're now conducting investigative associations between the profiles, the BRD pathogens, the antimicrobial usage. How does that play off in the morbidity and mortality? We have a lot of drug misusage, which was a problem for us. We moved on to do some studies with the University of Calgary on castration. Because we had to show to these producers how castrating needed to be done as early as possible and how it actually hurts the animal. We had to show that if you're castrating at branding and you gave some sort of pain mitigation product, that animal will actually mother up to its mother a lot faster than if you didn't give it, right? And therefore, it'll start suckling again and continue to have that good relationship with the mother. It's not going to get stressed. The vaccines that you just administer, because it's not super stressed, are actually going to work the way they're supposed to, and you're setting up those animals for success and not for failure, right? So cow-calf management is a huge thing. Of course, we have to go back and tell them you need to do this as early as possible, so you need to castrate at birth. Preconditioning, pre-vaccination, we had to really, really teach the cow-calf guys what this really means. And one of the biggest things when we started feeding naturals is that we thought we were going to have a wreck at the feedlot. And we did. For the first 3 years, I'm not going to lie to you, we did. But it wasn't the cattle's fault. It was the ranching management's fault. It was sending cattle that should not have been sent to a feedlot when they were 400 pounds instead of 650 or 700 or 800, and they've been properly vaccinated. And then we had to teach them how to do a 2-stage weaning part so that you're not having shipping fever, because shipping fever, the shipping of the animal is not what causes the fever. It's a stressing of being ripped away from your mother and your mother's milk all on the same day. When there is no preconditioning and pre-vaccination, there's higher treatments, there's higher death loss. The natural programs are false. That means there's less profitable. So all the work that you've been doing, all these record keeping, all these books, all this traceability just went out the window because somebody decided to skip a vaccination protocol, or they did the wrong vaccination protocol. We needed to teach them that dehorning castrating at the ranch is probably a lot easier on the animal than have them come at the chute, and we're doing it there, especially if they're older. So it's very stressful. It decreases performance. It extends the feeding period because they get set back. And medication, given an animal medication, constitutes a fallout, and a fallout is lost time, lost effort, lost money. And at the end of the day, we're in this to make money. 2 examples of animals right there, so you can see the left versus the right. So the preconditioned vaccination process does help. Healthy animals means less handling, which means increased performance. Increased performance, that means you meet your timelines, they go to slaughter when you're supposed to, and you're getting paid for the pounds of beef that you're selling. Everything that we do is interconnected. This is where we have to go back. So in order to move forward, we have to go back. We went back to the cow-calf producers. we reestablish this coordination, this vertical coordination, right? Everything that we do from start to finish will affect the performance, ultimately the end product. This is what we do. We do an end product, but vaccination protocols, nutrition, the overall healthcare, animal welfare, everything that you see there contributes to raising healthy, profitable, and sustainable beef. Thank you.